Welcome to Season 2 of The Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Good morning,
Good
Lisa.
morning.
How are
Yes,
you?
well, welcome everybody to the Biz Show. I
And
am doing,
welcome to 2025.
oh God, Happy New Year, Barry.
Yeah, same to you. Sorry
Thank you.
for cutting you off.
It's all right. We're both eager and excited and motivated. That's a sign of it.
Yes, I got my motivation right here. Cup of coffee.
Uh, yeah, it's been a very beautiful couple of days into the new year. And I'm excited about getting back to work. And I know everybody's kind of like back at it. I had my phone ringing yesterday, and so it's a good sign. I feel some really good energy out there. I think we're all kind of sharing that common thread.
We're all hoping for excellent 2025 now that we got 2024 behind us. And
Yes,
looking forward to the fruits that 2025 might bear.
that is right.
So
So,
this week we're talking about RTO, right? Return to office. A lot of companies have mandated in 2025 a return to office, and we're going to talk about the reasons and stuff like that in this
and
podcast.
why that is, because some people
Yeah,
are really got comfortable doing the remote or the hybrid model, which, still some companies are allowing. But why are companies mandating it is what this topic is today, right, Barry?
right, right. It started in 2020 since a lot of people started working from home, and we proved we could do it and get by working from home, but at a increased or decreased level, according to corporates and their profits and their productivity, so on and so forth. But that's not the only reason. Those are some of the things that we're going to talk about today.
Cool beans. Haven't said that in a while. Just kind
Cool
of popped out.
beans. There you go. Hey, you notice I haven't said my comment in a while either.
I know. And now everyone does, or I'm
I
noticing.
know. I hear it everywhere, and I'm like,
I
no,
think when we
not the end of
we
the day.
interviewed Brian Ross, he said it.
Aye, aye,
Anyway, now
aye.
I noticed it like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
So,
me too. And cool
cool beans.
beans.
Let's get
Well, listen, there's a couple reasons, right? And key reasons are, what the companies are really pushing a lot is, collaboration and creativity is suffering. And we'll drop in a little bit more detail on these, but
and that's
productivity,
huge.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is. The biggest thing, as a former CEO and stuff like that, one of the biggest things is real estate investment, right? You've spent millions and millions of dollars, and you're probably spending a couple $100,000 a month in, mortgage payments, lease payments, whatever the case might be, for this big office space, and it's empty.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I was laughing 'cause I said big ass. Sorry. I was like, well, maybe he's just gonna roll with
I,
that. You auto corrected yourself very
I did, but
quick. So they were
but
having to,
but
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things involved in that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more too. But companies, let's talk about the companies that are really pushing the agenda hard, right?
Yeah.
There's a list. Who's on the list, Lisa?
So there are some major companies like Amazon, as of yesterday, January 2nd, 2025. JP
Hmm.
Morgan Chase, they started back
Yep.
in 2022, and then Tesla in 2022.
Yep.
Disney wanted people back, what, around 2023?
Yeah. And all of them, they went to a hybrid model then, but now 2025, they are pushing all of their employees to come back, at least in a hybrid model, right?
Uh-huh.
Work 3 or 4 days a week in the office and then work one day from home.
And there are still some people that have the fear of, COVID. They've really adjusted to the working from home, and they don't want to be in an office setting, especially in the flu season, which we're in right now. So they have a fear around it. They don't want to come back. And I've heard stories of some people like being let go or having to, take a different path because they're not willing to adapt to the company's mandated return to office.
I have heard those stories too, and you bring up a good point. I do see, not as often, but I do still do see people on a daily basis wearing masks still.
Yes, I do. Yeah,
And I think the fear of COVID, if you will, brought in a lot of people who have, I don't want to say become hermits, but they're afraid now of society in a group
as,
setting because they don't want to get sick. And
as
I think it's
as a
really,
result. Yeah,
yeah, I think it's really played with a lot of people's psyche as
it
far
really
as,
did.
yeah,
Yeah, been studies that a lot of students that are, school age have not progressed academically because they were just really stifled um, when they had to stay home and learn from school or learn from the computer, or they don't even have, the social skills now to be able to interact with other kids at school because they were, solitary at home and didn't have that interaction. So some of these topics or key reasons that we're talking about are can also, have a relative or relation to people that aren't working in the office. So,
it's interesting that you say that because as you may remember, I had my post-secondary teaching credentials, and I've taught both in class and back in the day.
yeah.
I taught in class, and I also taught distance learning, what it was called back then,
Oh,
and
really? How funny.
and it's there's a major difference between the two. And I do like the classroom environment much better because students have questions, you can answer those questions, the understanding is you can clarify things and stuff like that. When you're doing learning on the computer and stuff like that, there's a lot of disconnect.
I'm sure, yeah, you probably didn't get to know your students very well, and nor did they get to know you because there was no human interaction.
True, 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 true. So
Yeah.
anyway, those companies that you mentioned, so that in 2025, all of them have really pushed the agenda hard. You're coming back to the office. So, get ready.
And there's
Amazon,
lots of others, right? There's lots
yeah,
of other ways
yeah.
too.
Other companies too, Elon Musk, and Tesla and SpaceX and all that. Yesterday was also the day we didn't put same on. Oh, we did say Tesla on the list. Today's the mandatory 100% back in the office. Oh, actually, yesterday was.
Have you ever had to deal with like customer service issues over the phone and you're calling your maybe insurance office? I'm just using it as an example. And you could clearly tell that they're working from home for a variety of reasons. Like the dog could be barking
I heard
or
a dog in the background. Yeah.
well, that happens to me because I have a little Yorkie, but or like you could just tell by the tone of their voice, like they're not all the way awake yet.
Oh,
Their environment isn't creating the motivation and drive for them to be productive on the phone even. So yeah, I could just kind of tell it's like, wow, this lady might have just woke up on the phone before she took this call. And so that's, definitely a reason to return to the office, I would have to say, because you have to push yourself, right?
you do, and there are benefits, right? Let's talk about a couple of the benefits, at least from a corporate standpoint of view, right?
Sure.
Collaboration, right? Um, it's from a corporate perspective, right? If you have all your employees in the office, you have clear communication. uh, you can collaborate and make decisions much faster because everyone's right there and you can get things signed off and stuff like that.
All you have to do is get up from your desk and walk into another person's office, right?
Right,
Or you
right.
could hear them maybe from your desk, and then you kind of get inspired. You're like, oh, and people have maybe that automatic, competitive nature to their personality, and they're like, oh, makes you want to do better also. So I think collaboration is huge.
Yes, I absolutely agree, it is. Another one is the training and mentorship, right?
Yes.
again, if the employees are in the office, those mentors and instructors have direct access to the employees.
Right. I remember just to tell a quick story, when I was trying to hire some new agent licensees in a separate region, up north in NorCal, and they were really green in real estate. It was impossible to train them from a distance, being in SoCal. And, the relationship and the partnership did not it didn't last because there was just no way. You have to be hands on. You have to be sitting next to a person. Whatever their mode of learning is, whether it's auditory or visual, is lacking because unless they're strictly an analytical type of person where they could read, a systems manual, they're not going to be learning to the fullest potential without visibly being next to you and physically being next to you and watching you. So I really believe this is an important one.
I absolutely agree with you 100%. What's the next one?
Oh, so the company culture, I mean, that can only exist if you're all together, right?
Yeah, as a former CEO, I sit on the fence on this one
Why is
because
that?
even if everyone is in the office, it's still hard to enforce company cultures, right? You have a mission for the company, you have a direction you want the company to go, and so on and so forth. And disseminating that down to the troops and the employees and stuff like that, even when they're in the office, it's hard to really push that agenda. So whether they're at home or whether they're in the office, that's a tough one.
True. But then there's also opportunity to have the company culture automatically reinforced when you're in the office by people maybe grabbing lunch together and
Yeah,
collaborating even outside of the office over an hour lunch or so, and kind of creating that collaboration and reinforcing the company's culture, vision, and direction together by spending time together. I think it's kind of an automatic. Um,
it's there's
yeah,
definitely a yin and yang on that piece, and I just know the struggles that in the past that
yeah.
we have faced. It's tough, but it actually leads into the next one, so to speak, in stronger client relationships, right?
How so?
Well, the fact that you can have face-to-face meetings with your clients instead of
Zoom.
Zoom or telephone calls. You're a real estate agent, so you're always out in the field. But isn't it nice when you actually have a client come to the office and you see them face to face?
Oh yeah. So I always say it's old fashioned. It's the old fashioned way of doing things. And it makes you feel more rewarded. I just had to sit with a client and we went through the entire HOA package from HOA management company. And I mean, we're talking a couple thousand pages.
Oh, wow. You know,
Yeah.
I hate HOAs.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I get and I understand,
Yes.
what they're trying to do and a consistency and a good look for the neighborhood. I get that. But, you also don't want them telling you you can't fly your flag. You can't, you have to cut your lawn every single week and it's got to be this tall or whatever, right? It's like, wow.
Funny, funny you say that because every time we turned a page, he would say, "Up, they're trying to prove why they're earning all this money in HOA dues."
Yeah,
It was funny.
exactly.
He just so happened to be a pilot, Barry. So are you those
Oh, well, there you go.
one of those that print out every page for me, please? I want to read. I want to read it. Okay, I've been doing this 21 years. Nobody's asked me to print out every page of the HOA doc.
But you want your pilots to be very detail orientated, right? So, you don't
Right.
want somebody flying the airplane willy-nilly up there. You want somebody that is paying attention and attention to detail, the instruments and everything else.
Yeah. That spoke for itself. Absolutely.
So there are some hidden agendas, right? And let's talk about those for a minute because those are really important to the corporations and what why they're really pushing this hard, right? And we talked about the first one, really real estate, right?
Yeah. You brought that up in the beginning of our podcast. Yeah.
Right. So, they need to justify the cost of owning that real estate, but the more goes into it, right? They pay insurance. and they pay insurance liability for somebody getting hurt in the office and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden, instead of having one office, now they got 1,000 offices, right? And they still have to insure you when you're at home, if
They,
you're
oh
on.
yeah, that's
So, and that's a premium. And guess what? The insurance companies see that and they charge for that.
right.
So companies now, let's just, I'm going to just throw some willy-nilly numbers out there, but let's say they pay $100,000 a month, for an office space. And now all of a sudden they've got, 500 office spaces because everyone's working from home. The insurance companies have tacked on additional fees. And so now instead of paying $100,000 a month, they might be paying $150,000 a month to cover everything.
Right.
And then
Yes.
some things are not covered at home that are covered in the office. So that even brings more liability
A
to
risk.
the employer, right? Because they might have out-of-pocket expenses they have to pay for the employee who got hurt that the insurance isn't going to cover.
Right. Yeah. So definitely it's an economic reason for sure.
It is, and that's the biggest. I talk to my CEO friends, and that's the first thing they all talk about, right? Is the fact that um, I've got all this empty office space and I'm spending millions of dollars on it.
Yeah, they're in a lease and they can't get out or whatnot. Yeah. And so they're like, we need to
Right.
start using it again.
Yep.
Right.
So the next one is kind of what all the employees think about, right? Control and surveillance, you know, having
Yes.
management, keep their thumb on the employees and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, there was trackers on some people's computers or servers that they would know whether or not the employee went out of the area or was not at home or, stepped away from their desk. That there were so many little methods that they would use to control the fact that they were supposed to be working 8 to 5 or whatever. Um, but it can only go so far, right?
So Tammy, my wife, right, she works for a company, and during COVID, uh, they all went home, and she worked from home for about a year. And they put trackers, keyboard trackers, on
Yeah,
everybody's computer so they could see if they're actually typing on the keyboard and stuff like that, and
gotcha.
using their mouse, and they're tracking, the keystrokes and stuff like that, so they could see if they were shopping on Amazon versus actually doing their work.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend that said that she had a very most of the days the job was just really, really slow and she would get all of her daily tasks done, before noon. And then she would go out for like this really long, walk or hike, if you will, in the middle of the day. And she's like, God, I was gone a couple of hours, but I mean, I had my phone with me, but I really didn't have a lot of work to do because I would got it all done without having to have interruptions at the office. And so she, was able to benefit by having a shortened work day. But I don't think she had that tracker on her keyboard. So
Obviously, because she didn't get fired, right?
exactly. Yes.
But so that's one of the ways that they controlled you back then. But in the office, even in the office, I remember back in the day in doing IT work and stuff like that, we installed trackers and stuff like that, even for the people in the office, just
Oh,
so,
wow.
because the company wanted to make sure they were doing work and not playing around, playing games, shopping, whatever the case might be, right?
Oh, right. Getting
Because
on Facebook or whatever. Yeah.
right. So, and not only that, but we blocked certain websites like Facebook. We would block Facebook and Instagram. Those, you couldn't get out to those through the routers and firewalls at the
Right.
corporate level. At the home level, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Another big one that companies are really concerned about a lot, especially these big companies, are unions, and the
Right.
unions taking hold of their employees. When they're in
Yeah.
the office, they can deny the union reps access to the office, right? And where their employees are working from home, there's complete autonomy and access to them.
Uh-huh. So that could be,
So that could be a problem for companies who aren't in the union. And then for companies that are in the union, it weakens efforts and stuff like that, right? Because now instead of a rep going into the office and seeing all the employees,
Right.
now it's a one-on-one, or they have to schedule a Zoom meeting or something like that. But it becomes harder.
Yes, definitely. Wow. Yeah, that's a big one. So,
Yep. So, and that's a big concern, right? Because honestly, if a company has a union come in and take over, really, the union manages the employees. The company doesn't manage the employees anymore.
right. So they're going to have their say is going to supersede all of the management level.
Right, right. And now the management has to work with the union instead of working with the employees.
Right.
So it puts
Well,
a
a lot of
barrier.
people, yeah, a lot of people have those jobs, so they just have to kind of roll with it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I think they're used to that too. If they're choosing that type of work, then they must be used to that
Yeah.
tier.
The other hidden agenda is basically just tradition, right? It's been done, hundreds of years this way, and
Um,
it's been effective and works. So why break the model?
exactly. And there's so many benefits, like we mentioned earlier, for having office time. So
Yeah,
in the
you
long
know,
run, I think a lot of corporations, realize that, and they're just wanting to preserve that and continue what worked in the many decades in the past.
yeah, moving forward, it's really tough, right? Because a lot of companies are going to have to take a look at a hybrid model, basically, right? Because a lot of employees are like, no, I'm not coming back to the office full time, and they're steadfast, right? They're standing their ground and fighting the companies and the corporations and stuff like that. So they got to find that common ground, and I don't know what that common ground is. I mean, it's hard to say. Uh,
Well, I think
what
that from a perspective of, wanting to um, you know, be a candidate for promotion or, receiving a salary increase at the end of the year or bonuses or whatnot. I think that employees tend to take the liberty of, hey, I want to be in the office. I want to be around the management. So if they are able to do a hybrid model, I see a lot of people saying, I would love to, be around my management so they could see me. I would like to have the opportunity to impress them, to actually gain a relationship with them and go into their office and talk with them or like chat with them, have lunch, whatnot. So I think that those competitive people again are going to be the ones that want to go back to the office, return to work, be around the leadership, and work your way to the top of the chain. So that is the benefit for those forward thinkers that love their job or love to um, collaborate and be amongst the leadership.
Lisa, I could not have said it better myself. You were dead you were dead on. Honestly, that's it. So for the people, at least for those who are, I don't want to say the overachievers, but those who actually have career path goals and ambition to grow within the ranks of the company, yeah, you need to be seen, right? You need to be heard, and you need that mentorship of the management above you so that you can step up the company ladder. And so
Right.
yeah, you said it perfect.
Yes. So there you go.
There it is. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
go ahead.
oh, I think you were going to say that's a wrap.
I was
That's
going to say that is a wrap. Um, so, just recapping real quick is the fact that RTO is happening, whether you like it or not, um, with a lot of companies. And there just needs to be some type of a collaboration in the sense of a balance of how to manage that.
right.
Yeah. All right. So, Lisa, how do they get a hold of us?
Well, you could reach out to Barry or myself via Facebook on the Biz Show page. We also have investquire.com as our website. You could feel free to text us or call us directly, and we'd love to hear from you all.
Yes, we definitely would.
Don't
All
forget to
right.
subscribe too, because we are on Amazon.
Oh,
Now. We're
please, please. Yes.
iHeartRadio and Pandora and Spotify. So if you subscribe, then we will have you as an additional follower, which we would love and appreciate.
Thank you so much.
So much. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye.